Houthi rebels say they have retaliated after a new series of U.S. airstrikes hit the port city of Hodaydah. The U.S. military confirmed the new strikes and says they will continue until the Iran-backed Houthis end their attacks on ships traveling through the Red Sea.
The U.S. launched fresh strikes on Houthi-held targets through the night on Sunday. The U.S. Central Command posted these pictures on its social media and said it will continue the offensive until the rebels stop their attacks on Red Sea shipping.
This is not a one-off. This is an effort to deny them the ability to continue to constrict and control shipping. And it's just not going to happen. We're not going to have these guys, these people with weapons able to tell us where our ships can go, where the ships of all the world can go, by the way. It's not just the U.S. We're doing the world a favor. Yeah. We're doing the entire world a favor by getting rid of these guys and their ability to strike global shipping. That's the mission here, and it will continue until that's carried out.
U.S. jets had struck various targets on Saturday as well. According to the Houthi-run health ministry, at least 53 people were killed, with dozens more injured. A spokesman for Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi rebels claimed the group had retaliated by attacking an American aircraft carrier twice within 24 hours and warned it would not let up.
The Yemeni armed forces will not hesitate to target all American warships in the Red Sea and in the Arabian Sea in retaliation to the aggression against our country.
The Houthis are an extremist political and military group who control a third of Yemen's territory. They seized control of Sana'a in 2014 and fought against a Saudi-led military coalition backed by the U.S. The Houthis' ideology centers around their opposition to Israel and the United States. They have aligned with Iran's so-called axis of resistance. And since the war in Gaza began, the group has attacked commercial ships in the Red Sea and even fired missiles at Israel. They say the attacks are in solidarity with Palestinians and have recently announced they will continue such attacks until Israel allows aid to enter Gaza. U.S. President Donald Trump says he will use overwhelming lethal force until the Houthis stop their attacks on ships. Trump also warned Iran, the Houthis' main backer, that it needs to stop its support for the group immediately. Iran provides weapons, training, and intelligence to the group, among other things, but still claims the Houthis are independent with their strategy.
The Houthis, as representatives of the Yemenis, make their strategic and operational decisions on their own.
As the U.S. continues its campaign, it remains unclear how it will succeed, where previous American-led military efforts against the Houthis have largely failed.
And I'd like to welcome Robert Chatterjee, Vice Editor-in-Chief of Zenith magazine, joining us from Berlin. Let's take a closer look first at the U.S. military response here. We know the Biden administration also carried out airstrikes against the Houthis for more than a year. What is different about what we're seeing now under the Trump administration?
Well, a difference certainly as a direct attack on a U.S. aircraft carrier. I think that's definitely a new kind of escalation. It also shows the confidence with which the Houthis are operating. I think they see the Trump administration as a lot of bark and no bite. And I think they feel comfortable in their situation. And they feel comfortable that as any other operation, Western operation targeting them, that there's no real appetite for sustained military campaigns. And I think that is a valid assessment of the situation. I don't see the Trump administration escalating this theater of war like they announced, like Marco Rubio announced yesterday.
Is it, though, willing to go after a wider range of Houthi targets than the Biden administration was?
I don't think that there's a major difference. I think the Biden administration already committed quite a lot of resources to that area, and it didn't change that much, to be honest. And I have not seen any shift in strategy other than we just keep bombing. And that didn't work out before. Also, none of the neighboring countries are involved. And that has been the main issue with not solving this conflict. First of all, it is connected to the Gaza war, which is a reality that both European and American leaders refuse to accept. Second, the Red Sea states, especially Egypt and Saudi Arabia, have to be included in all of those activities. If they are sidelined, you will never get any solution in this theater of war.
Okay, so many challenges here. I do want to pick up on a point you raised about the Houthis having claimed to have launched a second attack now against that American aircraft carrier in the Red Sea. First of all, how credible do you find those claims? Do the Houthis have those kinds of capabilities?
I haven't checked if this claim is true. I think they are operating quite independently of this so-called axis of resistance. You saw the statement from the Iranians, which is basically, we have nothing to do with that. The Iranians are still reeling from losing a big bunch of their military capabilities, and the Houthis, on the other hand, are operating quite independently. This also goes for weapon development and adapting to the need of warfare that they're doing. So it's not inconceivable that they have improved their capabilities to operate with their specific targets in mind. I think what is much more remarkable is the daringness, the daring the Americans to retaliate by basically directly attacking military vessels, which has not occurred in the last year or 1.5 years. So I think that is quite remarkable. I think they seem to feel comfortable operating from that position and also having a longer breath, like to actually sit out this confrontation.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on DW News. We've been speaking with Robert Chatterjee, Vice Editor-in-Chief of Zenith magazine.
And to take a closer look at all of this, I'm joined now by DW reporter Tomi Oladipo. Tomi, so great to have you here. Tell me why we're seeing this now. What's the Trump administration's plan here?
Well, this obviously has to do with the global shipping supply that's been disrupted by the Houthi attacks on ships in the Red Sea and in the surrounding area. But we need to go back with a bit of context. In the first Trump administration, the Houthis were designated a foreign terrorist organization. Mm-hmm. The Biden administration reversed that so it could supply aid to Yemen because of the devastating humanitarian crisis there. Trump 2.0 has come back in and they've reversed that. Obviously, we know their stance on foreign aid, but also that was just 2 weeks ago when they reversed that and redesignated the Houthis as a foreign terrorist organization. And so we're now seeing that because these attacks have been affecting U.S. ships, U.S. military personnel as well, at least U.S. military ships. So that has prompted the U.S. now to go. It's targeting, in its view, a terrorist organization.
Witnesses in Yemen say they were surprised by the intensity of these strikes. Why is the U.S. launching such forceful attacks?
Well, I mean, this is the Trump government that has come out and talked about strength a lot on the global stage. Mm-hmm. Peace through strength has been that slogan. And I think that's the message the Trump administration is trying to send, that they're not going to back down if anyone attacks U.S. American vessels or military. But I think that's not just unique to the Trump government. Any U.S. government, under any U.S. government, if you attack U.S. military personnel, they will come hard at you. And that we're seeing is not just missile to drone. This is also targeting sites in Yemen, and that's why we've seen these strikes across the country.
Yeah, Marco Rubio, the U.S. Secretary of State, actually said that he was not, or that his country was not doing this just for its own sake, but for the entire world, to protect shipping of all its allies as well. The Houthi rebels have said that they have retaliated against a group of American aircraft carriers. What do we know about their military capabilities?
I think it's important to stress that the Houthis are not just some group in the mountains hiding. These are a large. They might not be the internationally recognized government, but they do operate almost like a government in many parts, at least the northern half of the country. And they possess significant military capability. They've had years of supply from Iran. They carry out these military parades, Iran-style military parades, where they display their arsenal. So they will try to, and they have reiterated that they will continue these strikes until Israel allows for aid into Gaza. But then, again, this is the US we're talking about, the world's, at least for a long time, the world's top military power. So I don't think the Houthis will stand a major chance. They will, as they say, try to give it a shot, but it's the US they're up against.
That does sound like we could be in for further escalation.
Well, that depends. I mean, the US, Trump in particular, has spoken out against Iran and told them not, sent a warning to them. And it's interesting that the Iranians have been quick to speak and say, actually, no, the Houthis are operating on their own. And so we've seen what happened in Iran following the Israeli attacks in October and how, according to many experts, if it's true that they were decimated in terms of their defense capabilities, and I don't think they'll be keen to get involved. And so the Iranians will be trying to get the Houthis at least somehow not to draw them into it. And at the same time, we have to keep in mind that there are potential nuclear talks with the US, and the US will want to come in strong if those talks were to happen. So I think the US will want to, make their stamp known in this issue and have the upper hand.
Tomi Oladipo, thank you so much.
Thank you.